We are back with another video, but first, we're gonna go get after a run. Holy hotness. Oh, hit the single track for the first time ever. Pretty cool, got lost. So 8 miles, 1 hour, 1 minute, 45 seconds, which is about 7:42, 7:45 pace. So we will dive into the top 5 things that I learned from the Boston Marathon right after this. Ooh, before we, time out, 1 second. Time in. You can't not talk about Boston without wearing the official Boston swag and gear. First things first, before I even dive into the top 5, I did not PR on Boston. Straight up, this was my first Boston experience. Fully, these 5 things that I've really digested over the last kind of 2 weeks post Boston will help you nail your first Boston. Number 1, run hills. Train hills, do them early in your training block, do them often. However, the Newton hills, the ones that are really prevalent on the course, happen between miles 16 and 21.5. I felt like in my training, I need to be a little bit more efficient in regards to training hills later on my long runs, or at a perceived effort of a little bit faster than marathon pace. So then that way my legs are fatigued and I am running up these hills at an effort where I feel like during the race of 16 to 21 miles in a marathon, I'm going to be well prepared. And guidance point, tip number 2 would be to incorporate strength. Again, this is all personal preference. I know plenty of people that don't train hills. I know plenty of people that don't train strength. I incorporated in more of endurance type of lifting, so lifting for 30 to 45 seconds at a time. Do not shy away from lifting heavier on the legs. I definitely felt like from a cardiovascular sense, I was really in shape for this race. My legs, the course just beat you up. So my quads and my hip flexors, because I ran rather conservatively on the downhills, my quads were on fire 3, 4, 5 days after the race. I definitely need to incorporate some heavy strength lifting on my lower body moving forward. So not only from a cardiovascular sense, I am in shape, I am ready, and I am fit, but from a strength aspect, I am ready, I am fit, and I can tackle all of the terrain. Tip number 3, your nutrition pre-race, 2-3 days pre-race, on race day, and during the race really have to be dialed in. Between these two, I definitely was on the very fueled up in terms of a nutrition standpoint, and I was really dialed in. I took this at 4.5, took it at 9, and then I incorporated in at 13 and 18. However, right after Heartbreak Hill, I tried to take one of these down. For whatever reason, my body rejected it, threw up, so I spit it out, and then I tried to finish the other half of it, and I threw, again, almost literally everything came up. 18 was my last nutrition in terms of fuel, and then I just had my electrolytes with me the rest of the way. I was too nervous to try more gel. The one specific thing about Boston is it is a very late start. Practice and simulate a race day pre-Boston. Wake up, fuel, eat breakfast, whatever the case may be. Leave at the time you would be starting your race at Boston. See what fuel and food works best for you during the race. My nutrition, again, personal preference. I woke up, I had 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches at 7 a.m., rode the bus up to the Athlete Village, Cliff Bar at 8 a.m., and then I had a honey stinger waffle at 9 a.m. That was my pre-race nutrition on race day. Tip number 4, you have 3 different things that you need to have. You have your post-race attire, you have your race attire, and then you have your pre-race attire. With the late start time, you have a lot of time on your feet. My best recommendation, take the bus. You're gonna get to hopefully talk to some people that are excited to run the race, who isn't. And then you'll get to this athlete village in Hopkinton. You need to make sure that you prepare yourself to stay warm, stay dry, and ultimately comfortable. My recommendation, go into a Goodwill, go into a Salvation Army. If you got old ratty clothes that you're not gonna wear anymore, there are plenty of volunteers going around. And from Hopkinton, the athlete village, to the start of the race, you still have 7/10 of a mile to walk. So I wore my sweatshirt literally getting into the corral, and I finally took it off, put it in a donation box, and there it was. Race gear, I would just obviously wear before you depart and go to the start line. Post-race, I think I underpacked. I only brought this shirt post-race and a pair of training shoes. I didn't know. So post-race, definitely pack warm layers because I was a little cold after the race, but you basically have this huge BAA, Boston Athletic Association marathon bag. You put anything after the race, you just show them your bib, you get that, and you just kind of walk out and file out the exit. So tip number 5, I did not PR, and yes, this was my first Boston. Tip number 5, just have fun and realize that it's a culminating experience. I went into the mindset of during race day, and it was literally like the first mile, I ran with some incredible people. And so Logan, if you're watching it, what's up, dude? And we just kind of said like, hey, we're here to have fun. And if we have a really good race, we have a really good race. So we really stopped looking at our watches except for when the mile markers beeped. And the first mile, I kid you not, when we were going downhill and there was a little uphill, I could not see the pavement. There were so many runners in front of me. And that's when I really knew Boston was a special and a unique experience to run the marathon. And I really just soaked in the whole atmosphere, all the 7 towns. My journey was really getting there, and the 4 marathons that it took me to finally run under 3 hours. And yeah, I would have liked to see a 2 in front of my name at the finish line. However, there were so many people hurting. You're always going to have someone to run with. Hopefully you get to meet them and have an opportunity to really just find a running friend and really soak in the course and the experience. Make sure you just run your own race. I mean, this is pretty awesome too. So definitely hurting. This is on Boylston, the finish line here. But I wanted to make sure that I could finish with a smile and have a very enjoyable and memorable experience at the Boston Marathon. Always remember to have fun, remember your why and your purpose as to how you got there and why you're running it. So those are my 5 tips. That is a wrap on the whole season in the series of The Road to Boston. It has ended officially. I don't know what's next. Actually, I do know what's next. We'll see you in the next video, and as always, go make it a great day.